According to a 2023 UN study, a woman is killed every 11 minutes by someone in her family. Let's digest that and get into it. Hi, my name is Joanita Maaya. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please do not forget to subscribe. I would really appreciate that. Now let's dive in. Now, I know most of you have heard the name Rebecca Cheptegei already. I mean, this is something that has happened recently, or some of you may know of the man Joshua Cheptegei, who is also a Ugandan athlete. But Rebecca Cheptegei is in the news recently because she was burnt to death by her ex-boyfriend. She literally just came back from church with her children, had an argument with the ex-boyfriend who didn't like what he was hearing about the house she owned on the land that she owned. He then went out to buy some fuel. Now, I do want to mention that someone who goes out there buys fuel or buys petrol, whatever it is that he used, buys a matchbox, had very much pre-planned this incident. This is not something that happened just as an accident. This is something that this man thought of and decided to execute. So we do not want to hear the excuses that he didn't know what he was doing or it was in the heat of the moment. No, this was something that was actually premeditated. Now, I do want you guys to watch this clip before I dive in.
The Ugandan marathon runner Rebecca Cheptegei has died 4 days after being set on fire in an alleged attack by her boyfriend. The Olympic athlete was reportedly doused with petrol at her home in Western Kenya, where she'd been training. Cheptegei, who was 33, sustained burns on more than 70% of her body. Boyfriend was also injured. There are concerns about the increasing cases of violence against female athletes in Kenya, some of which have resulted in death. Let's go live now to Nairobi, our Africa sports correspondent.
So guys, you've watched the clip and you've heard what led to the tragic death of this lovely lady. And this was no ordinary woman, by the way, guys. This wasn't an ordinary woman. This is a woman who had won. She was a Ugandan cross-country, long-distance and marathon runner. She had the national record title. She was the national record holder, and she was also a former world champion in mountain climbing. She represented Uganda at several world championships since 2010, including the IAAF World Class cross-country championships. I just wanted to give you guys a brief and let you know that this is not just someone who was walking among us ordinary. This was like a woman who was so good at what she does, and her life ended just like that. When I heard the news of her death, as a Ugandan, I must say I was very devastated. We were actually talking about it with my friends and we were so hurt by something like this, because when you hear like your national treasure, something happened to your national treasure, it's kind of like gets you feeling a certain type of way. But when I heard that, after hearing everything that had happened, we got to know that she was burnt. So many of us were hoping that she survives the burns. But unfortunately, 4 days later, she ended up passing away because of those burns and those organ failure that happened to her. But I do want to say, when I heard of her death, I knew that my mind, I remembered something that had happened a few years back, and I knew that there were some other women athletes that had passed on. So this wasn't like a one-case scenario. This wasn't the first time something like that happened. So you know what I decided to do? I said, you know what? I'm going to make some research and then I'm going to bring you guys all the details of what I can find, and here's what I found. So in 2021, a lady by the name of Agnes Tirop was also murdered. She was stabbed by her husband. They had an argument and this man decided to stab her. I want you guys to see a pattern here. Do you see the pattern? I know you see the pattern, and I want you to let me know in the comment section. There's a pattern here. You have these beautiful, unordinary women, very good at what they do, experts in their field, winners in their field, being killed by their partners, guys. And gender-based violence is quite common in these parts of the world. It's very unfortunate, but it's quite common in these parts of the world, The neighbors heard her arguing with her husband, and the next thing they hear, she was stabbed. The neighbors heard them arguing, and the next thing they hear, she was burnt to death. These are two different scenarios. So, but I want you to hear the story of Agnes before I come back and we talk about it.
Kenyan runner Agnes Tirop, a two-time world champions bronze medalist, has died. The country's track federation announced on Wednesday. The 25-year-old athlete was found dead at her home in Iten, in western Kenya, a town renowned as a training base for distance runners. Athletics Kenya said it was still working to uncover details of the incident, but it had been informed of Tirop's death. The federation said Kenya has lost a jewel. This is my friend who has left us under unclear circumstances. We have not yet accepted that it is Tirop whom we prayed for every day with so much hope to do mighty and good things in Kenya, and now she has been finished like that. We are not happy. According to Kenyan media report, she was found with stab wounds in her abdomen. Kenyan police say they have initiated investigations into the matter. There are revelations which came from her husband's family indicating that the husband had called his parents crying. He was explaining to them that may God forgive him because there is something he has done. Tirop won bronze medals in the women's 10,000 meters at the 2017 and 2019 World Championships and finished fourth in the 5,000 meters at the Tokyo Olympics.
So guys, you've watched the clip about Agnes, what led to her sudden death and the reactions to some of the people around her. I like what the gentleman said right there. He said that she was a friend and he had prayed and hoped for her to, to come back and win more medals for Kenya and do so much more. But he was so saddened by her sudden passing, saddened by her sudden passing, which like I feel like every East African is saddened by all the passing that has been happening. And you know what, it's usually women who encounter such things. There's a lot of gender-based violence in these parts of the world, and unfortunately the authorities are not as strict about that type of violence. I'll give an example of my own country. If you encounter gender-based violence and you go to the police to report, they are going to tell you go back to your husband and try to resolve the issue. They gaslight you into thinking you are the problem. But let's look at another case of a lovely lady by the name Edith Muthoni, a 27-year-old athlete from Kenya who was also tragically murdered in October 2021. She was murdered a few days after Agnes was murdered. So these murders happened back to back, again, of women who are not ordinary, women who are good at what they do. She was killed by her boyfriend. Her boyfriend was called Kennedy. Well, is called Kennedy Chomba. Again, there was an argument. They had an argument over a phone. She wanted to check his phone. He didn't want to let her check his phone. And then she was brutally attacked. Watch this clip.
Within a day after the murder of Kenya's top athlete Agnes Tirop, another athlete has been reported dead in Kirinyaga County. 27-year-old Kenya's budding female athlete Edith Muthoni has been allegedly murdered by her boyfriend Kennedy Nyamu in Cheptegei, Kirinyaga County. It is reported the suspect slashed the head of the lady following a domestic dispute at their village in Cheptegei East. The suspect has already been arrested by Cheptegei police following the incident, which occurred on Tuesday night, 12 October 2021. According to Muthoni's sister, Jane Nyawera, the suspect attacked the athlete after she picked up his phone to go through its content. The two have been together for 3 years. On the fateful night, they fought over Nyamu's phone. Edith Muthoni also worked as Kenya Wildlife Service KWS Community Scout in Embu County. She was taken to Cheptegei County Referral Hospital in critical condition. However, she passed away while receiving treatment.
Once again, a lovely lady who had a whole life ahead of her, who could have been a national asset, who could have been a national treasure, was murdered by her boyfriend who thought he could just go ahead and do it. He could just go ahead and kill her over a phone. Like, if they want, let them find out you're cheating and leave it at that. losing a life over something so small, in my opinion, because there's nothing as great as a human life. Nothing can beat a human life, you know? There's nothing as important as a human life. Nothing at all. It has to be guarded. It has to be treasured, you know? And you kill someone over a phone conversation? These men have no excuses, because in the case of Agnes, when we go back up, he called his parents crying that he had done something so bad and they need to forgive him, and then he disappeared. So you have taken a life. Like, I don't know what goes on in a man's mind when he's choking this lady, or when he's stabbing her, or when he's deliberately killing her, because that's what's happening, you know. And most of these female athletes actually do support their family, you know. They are the breadwinners of these families, because the prizes from what they win is so much. That's a lot of money. I mean, you win that prize in dollars, you come back here, you exchange it to your national currency. That's a lot of money for you. So these are women who are actually doing financially well. They're supporting their families. They're looking after their homes. But these men feel little, and they feel like they should do something about it, or they feel like they are the creator of these women, and they can end their lives in an instant, which is very sad, by the way. And femicide is quite on the rise in East Africa, by the way. I'm just highlighting these female athletes, but there's so many women who are killed over simple mundane things in this part of the world. You think about it and you're like, they killed her over what? Women don't feel safe anymore. They don't feel safe to go out there and do what they need to do, because men are out there just, I guess, on standby, you know. And you know what hurts me the most in all these stories? These are not strangers, by the way. These are people that they knew. These were the fathers of their kids. Some of them had kids, you know. This is someone who had vowed to take care of her, but guess what? He decided to, you know, end her life. Just like that. No thought of what's going to happen after, no thought of the consequences, no thought of who's going to take care of my kids. Just very selfish, and them deciding to do what they need to do. But what's the solution to this? I want you guys to watch this clip. There was a recent protest in Kenya, and I believe that these women did the right thing by going out there to protest. I wish Ugandans could do the same thing. I mean, there was a recent nude protest, but I don't think we should be going that route. Let me not divert you guys. Watch this clip.
Now, protests have been taking place in Kenya following a wave of brutal killings of women. Amnesty International says more than 500 cases of femicide, or the killing of women and girls, happened between 2016 and 2023, many by their partners or others known to them. Thousands of people have marched through the streets of Nairobi, calling for an end to the violence. There's anger for victims on the streets of Nairobi. Hundreds of women and girls have been murdered in Kenya in the last 5 years, and the killings continue. At least 14 women and girls have been killed since the year began. Women's rights activists say it has to stop now.
Women are the majority in this country, while we are still marginalized in the political, social, and economic structure. So we are saying we are tired, and that's why today we are marching to say end femicide and women voice matter, our lives matter.
We hope that the government can come in and help solve this issue that we have not been able to solve since 2019.
I'm here as a man because my country is not safe. My sisters are not safe. My wife is not safe. My children, my daughters are not safe. I'm here because the nation is not safe.
Thousands of men and women have marched in solidarity with the victims of femicide in the country. The rallying call has been the need to stop the killing of women and girls. Activists did not have any kind words for the government of Kenya that they feel has done very little in the wake of the recent killings.
Protesters marched to the office of the President, the Parliament, and Supreme Court, calling for justice for the victims. They want all forms of gender-related violence to be punished swiftly, and an end to the environment of impunity. Those on the streets today hope their voices will push the government to create a safer Kenya for women.
There you have it, guys. You've listened to some of these ladies and men, by the way. First of all, stop killing women. That's the hashtag. The hashtag is stop killing women. Stop it. Stop it. where it takes you nowhere. Women are so precious. They bring life into this world, and so many other things, their worth is not tied to bringing life into this world, but they are so, what pushes some people? Anyway, there's a lot that goes into that, but you've heard that clip, You've heard what the ladies have had to say. You've heard what the man has had to say, because he said, as a man, I'm also here to fight for the women in my life. You guys out there, you have sisters, you have aunties, you have mothers, you have grandmothers, you have females in your life, you have women in your life that need protection, that need to be protected. So this is not just an issue of, men, no. It's not an issue of women. It's an issue for everyone. It's an issue for having regard for a human life. I don't understand how people treat this thing so lightly. Guys, to be alive is a blessing. To be alive is a blessing. To be on this earth, to do what you can do, to do what God has, is working through you to do, is a blessing. And I don't know why we take life for granted like that. Now, I like the other thing that they mentioned. They say the government should act swiftly on such cases. I agree, because why would a case of a female being killed take years in court? Something like that should be expedited, put to the front. Let the people know that, okay, if you mess around, this is what is going to happen to you, because the leniency the government is taking towards such issues is maybe giving people some sort of leeway to think, I can do this and get away with it, or I can do this and nothing bad will happen to me, right? But it is so bad, it's so bad to lose women like this, to lose powerful women that could do so much more in society and in the lives of the people around them. They could change people's lives. Being on a world stage like that, going for the Olympics can change anyone's life, especially for an African. It can change your life. Now, I could come here and say all this, but I do want to mention some NGOs that are doing something towards femicide that I think you guys should follow. They'll show up on the screen. So we have Coalition on Violence Against Women, that is in Kenya. And then we also have in Uganda, there's one called, and in Uganda, we do have the Uganda Women's Network. There's so many NGOs out there that are doing marvelous work towards this. And guys, if you know of anyone going through gender-based violence or domestic violence, please let them know that they can go to the nearest police station, a sensible one, I hope, and they can report this person. Guys, don't die in silence. Do not die in silence. Your parents didn't raise you to just live life. You have kids. If you're out there, your life is precious. Your life is precious. Your life matters. Stop killing women. And with that, I sign out. I hope with this episode I was able to shed a light on what's happening in East Africa, or what's happening to the women that you know of or you don't know of. I hope that this episode in a way helped you or prompted you to also make research about this topic, because you can just hear the name Rebecca Cheptegei, she's dead, but get deep into it. Okay, who else has gone through something like this? With that, I do sign out. Please subscribe, let me know what you think in the comment section. I would love to hear what you have to say about this particular topic. You could also let me know what you'd like to see on my channel. I'm very open to that, since this is a new channel and I'm just growing it, if you know what I mean. Also, guys, please don't forget, I do have merch. Uganda looks good of me. Uganda is calling my school, so it's gonna pop up on the screen. So please do check it out and let me know what you think. Do you like it? Would you like a few colors added in? There's so much more that you can do to support this channel. And once again, I do appreciate you wherever it is that you're watching me from, and I will see you next time. Bye.